Hey everyone, you're back with me, Ian Kane. Huge welcome to this week's installment of DappRadar Meets. The date is Wednesday, June the 1st. A massive hello to all the wonderful listeners and thanks for tuning in to another episode. It's really cool to see you all here and I hope you're having a great week so far. Wednesday, hump of the week, but not for everybody, right? I can't believe it's June already, to be really honest. This half a year has just flown by, and it's been an incredible year already in terms of crypto, in terms of blockchain, but moreover around the globe, some pretty big events happening. Obviously, we've not forgotten about our partners, colleagues, and friends over in the Ukraine, and we're still sending our support and love in their direction. Slava Ukraina. As always, we record these sessions for people to catch up later. If you missed any of the previous shows, you can grab them on YouTube. Just head on over. Search for whatever you like. I'm sure we've got it covered. You'll find hundreds of DApp videos, analytics videos, and they will really help you on your journey. If you don't know already, DappRadar is the world's leader in DApp analytics and discovery. We track thousands of DApps across more than 45 blockchains, and our portfolio manager lets you manage all your crypto and NFT assets in one place. We've become truly ambitious this year, not that we weren't anyway, but we're pushing the envelope as far as we can take it this year. So make sure to check out our community call updates and join in next month if you can, and you can come and ask all those questions you want to ask us. You can find all the details for that on our official Twitter feed or on our Discord. Also, just to add, I'm talking about our portfolio. We've released Polygon NFT tracking in early stages right now. So if you've got NFTs on Polygon and you head on over and use our portfolio tracker where you just input your wallet address, all the NFTs that you hold on Ethereum and Polygon will pop up and you'll be able to see their values in a financial and visual way. So as I say, the Polygon tracking is pretty new. Go and check it out. We're still in early stage. All feedback is needed and welcomed. So today, I am excited to welcome Philip Devine. He's the CEO of Cryptoblades. I'm going to bring him on the stage and we're going to talk about their play-to-earn blockchain gaming project, Cryptoblades. And this week sees them celebrate their first birthday. So it's a really special time for the team. Special, and I also believe probably extremely busy. So let's do a quick sound check. Do we have you there, Philip?
Yeah, I'm here. Great to be here.
Cool, man. How you doing? I'm sure you've been mega busy. So yeah, let me just run through a few bits of news for this week, and then we'll jump right in, all right?
Yeah,
So,
sounds great.
cool, man. So what's been happening in the world of dApps? Loads already. Oh my God, it's only Wednesday. But the highlights of this week that we've seen so far, Terra 2.0, a very interesting story around Terra 2.0. Kind of crypto really is the only place where you could lose $40 billion and then pop back up a week later with a new chain. So interesting how it's going over there. The new token debuted around 19 bucks, dropped around 76% in 6 hours. And now it's looking like it's on its way back up again, finding resistance. So we'll cover that next week. I'll have a deeper look into what's going on over there. What else has been happening? Pull Together. I don't know how many of you know about this DApp. It's a quite interesting savings and lottery DApp where you basically stake your crypto in the normal way that you would in DeFi, but then you're also entering in the chance to win a lottery. So it's like a cherry on top. And basically, someone is suing them. And this person put 12 bucks into this platform. Now, there's an interesting link here that the person suing them was the former assistant of an American senator that has really got it in for crypto. So it's quite an interesting story. But moreover, they've released an NFT collection to help them fund the legal battle. So it's really interesting, like using an NFT to fund a battle against your DApp. Yeah, it's just a little bit crazy what's happening over there. And also Uniswap, same issue for them last month. I think we're going to see a lot more of this as we move throughout this year and into next. Regulation is needed. Regulation is coming. What else is going down? In the world of NFTs, we've seen blue chips shed off around 50% of their value. Now, bear in mind that obviously token values are down around 30%. So a lot of that drop is actually just organic value drop from the falling value of ETH. But at the same time, we've got free to mint collections surging. One in particular, Goblin Town, which I'm sure you guys have seen, has been tripling in value every couple of days. So crazy stuff happening in NFTs, still pumping, still vibrant, still going. And look on the blog that we write about every week, so I didn't ask you to go over and check it all out. So now we're going to jump into the main event. As all the regular listeners know, once a week, we sit down with the brightest minds, blockchains, dApps, and NFT collections, and we want to dig in and we want to get an idea of what they're all about. But really importantly, to put human face on these projects and give you guys a chance to ask some questions. So all you have to do is put up your hand, and we'll put you on the stage and you can ask your question. If you're a bit shy, text it over to the Discord and Cornelia will make sure that I've got that and I'll ask it over to Philip. All right. Now, just one thing, as I always say, keep your ears open, listen for the questions, guys. Don't ask the same question that somebody else has already asked. Think of a new one. That way we can all learn new things. All right, Philip, so I've warmed everyone up for you. I think I've warmed them up nicely. Let's jump straight into the elevator pitch on this one, shall we? I want you to pretend that you and I got in a lift, and now that lift is broken, and we're stuck. And I've got a t-shirt on that says I'm a heavy investor, I love crypto, and I want you to tell me why I should be paying attention to Cryptoblades in under a minute. No pressure. Off you go.
Awesome. All right, 60 seconds. Here we go. So Cryptoblades is really one of the first kind of play to earn games that hit the market in 2021. We launched actually 1 year ago today and have been paying out rewards for over a year. So far, we've paid out over $30 million in play to earn rewards to our players. We're currently one of the most active dApps in the blockchain gaming space. I think we're currently either top 5 or top 6 blockchain games in the world across all chains. We're currently on 6 different smart chains, which by the end of the next 2 weeks will actually move to 8 different smart chains. So we are really one of the fastest moving technology companies in the blockchain gaming space too. And then finally, we're actually revenue-based instead of just token-based. So the rewards that we pay out to players come from a variety of different products and services that we offer to not only other GameFi companies, but to other users, investors, and even just the NFT space as a whole, which includes things like our Knighthood program, where we essentially highlight various different projects who create gamified airdrops to our users, which has been done with over 15 different projects generating over $500,000 in revenue for our play to earn gamers. We have our NFT bridge, which is the most utilized NFT bridge in the world with over 150,000 NFTs bridged on it as part of our ecosystem. And we have a multi-chain NFT marketplace, Bazaar.market, which is across 6 different smart chains. We've had about 4.5 million NFT transactions on that NFT marketplace, all of which is driven by our skill token. And today we just announced the launch of Ascension Pad, which is the world's first play to invest launch pad, where our play to earn gamers can actually earn different tiers to participate in public sales of tokens at rates that are significantly lower than what people might have to usually buy to participate in these public sales, which typically means somewhere between $5, $10, sometimes even $50,000 worth of Launchpad tokens that they would have to hold in order to participate in these public sales. But our play to earn gamers can do it simply by participating in our ecosystem, playing Cryptoblades, and then they can use that to buy these public sale tokens. So that's kind of the 30,000 foot view. We have a lot more things going on. We're very, very busy from the tech side and from the gaming side, but hopefully that's kind of a decent enough overview for you.
That's an amazing overview, Philip. Thank you so much, man. That's that. Now that we've got that kind of, as you say, that 30,000 meter view, we can now start to zoom in on areas of Cryptoblades of interest and start to unpack all of these ideas, which we will definitely get into. But first of all, I want to know a little bit about you. I like to put faces on these projects, and I want to know, how did you end up in this crazy blockchain space? And what background have you got, Philip? Are you from games or finance, or tell me a bit about yourself, man?
Yeah, sure. So I started Riveted Games in 2014. We've been releasing games on the Steam platform. We've been releasing self-published games. We've done commission work with our game studio, and have a number of different award-winning titles that we've put out since then. And towards the end of 2020, I started to see that NFTs were kind of gaining a little bit more traction, specifically in the art space. And I'm not talking like Bored Apes or anything like that. You know, really what was kind of catching my attention was this sort of almost like underground kind of, you know, sometimes incremental or sometimes experimental art that was being sold on some of these marketplaces. And at the time, I would say even the volume of NFTs that were being sold in this method was probably less than $1 million per day in total NFT volume when it kind of caught my radar. But the first thing that sort of struck me was, like, I was very interested that I had already known about NFTs, but I was surprised that they were being used specifically for art. I wasn't surprised, in a way that it was ever to be used for art, but it was never the primary kind of way that I imagined NFTs being used. So coming from a gaming background, NFTs to me always seemed more like being used as like in-game items or storing data that previously was not able to be moved around between people simply because there was no standard for it. So the classic example is if you play World of Warcraft and you get an item in World of Warcraft, there's no method, there's no structure, there's no standard for you to be able to sell that item from World of Warcraft to another player outside of the centralized system that Blizzard has created. Likewise, there was also no standard or decentralized way for really any kind of digital thing to be moved between players that wasn't completely controlled and gatekept by centralized entities. I mean, even look at people buying Fortnite skins, and that's the classic example of money goes into the system, the centralized system, and money can never come back out. And when there's all of this kind of ideas, sort of railing against blockchain gaming, all it entails in its most simplest form is the ability for funds to go both in and out. That's it. Bottom line, that's it. And so we thought, well, one of our kind of classic examples that we were thinking of when we were designing Cryptoblades as sort of this first kind of premise and experiment of how can we make not only items but also currency that is both tradable inside of our ecosystem and outside of our ecosystem was, well, what if we made our in-game gold just something that resided on the blockchain, right? That's just our database. That's really all it is. Instead of us handling, who has what funds and handling a ledger and all that stuff, we're just going to store it on the blockchain. And we did a public sale. There was no private sale, no seed investors, no VCs, nothing, just players. And they decided how much they wanted to purchase these tokens for, and we created the liquidity pool, and the rest is kind of history. People really started deciding at times that, well, this currency is worth this much in real dollars, or this currency is worth that much in real dollars, and the same goes for all of the items and the characters and everything, right? It's completely controlled by what the overall community and economy sort of dictates. And I think the most surprising thing about what's now a full-fledged business and not just an experiment, but what's most surprising about it is just how active our user base is completely within our own closed economy. So what they're able to sort of do with all of these NFTs, because we've had, I think, over 5 million NFTs minted within the Cryptoblades ecosystem in total. And we have thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of NFTs that are minted every single day. And so we really truly have a thriving kind of internal economy with Cryptoblades as well.
Nice. There's a couple of things there I just picked up on what you were saying, Philip, because it's interesting that because you're from a gaming background, your first thoughts on NFTs iteration was in gaming, which always made solid sense to me also. I'm not really a gamer, but it did make sense, right? But I just think it's interesting how, like you're saying with art, I imagine artists probably looked at NFTs and thought the same thing you did, but in their industry, right? Like, so everybody's applied it as they saw fit. So I find that quite interesting. And it's also that you mentioned World of Warcraft. Again, I don't know how many people know about this, but World of Warcraft was like the reason that Vitalik Buterin even started working on Ethereum, right? Because Blizzard took away his items and he was super angry about that. So the gaming side seems to fit for me. But you mentioned then at the end as well about the most surprising thing is how active the players are and kind of what they're doing in there. So a quick look on DappRadar, we see on-chain analytics telling us there's like more than 30,000 unique wallets interacting per day. What are they doing? What are they getting up to in Cryptoblades, Philip? What's happening in there? What are these players doing?
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to this whole premise that like pretty much started last year and now is actually started even being attacked within the crypto space, which is play to earn. These are people who have purchased our NFTs. Sometimes, we have floor prices as low as even like $2 or less. And you can buy those NFTs and you can actually start earning crypto, which obviously, as all of you know, I'm sure you can then sell for real money in your bank account. And this is across many different chains. So, part of our success with gaining users and gaining that volume of users is sort of going to where the people are, creating various levels of investment. Some people want to invest a lot and then they want to earn a lot. Some people want to invest a little and they want to earn a little. But essentially what they're doing is they're participating in our ecosystem. Maybe they're going in the adventure mode, which is kind of like the lowest hanging fruit, where you can essentially just show up every day, click a little bit, and then earn some money. They're also participating in quests, which is essentially gamified NFT collection, and almost like a turn in these NFTs and get these NFTs as a reward. So you can kind of upgrade things over time. There's also player versus player, which we just released the brand new version of it a week ago. We had a huge tournament last week, which was super fun. We had a $1,300 award pool that went out to the top 3 players, as well as all the other players who just simply participated and earned, and maybe didn't necessarily get top 3, but were able to just come show up, play against other players, win a little bit of money, go back to their day. And of course, we have, as I mentioned, just a very active NFT secondary marketplace with Bazaar.market, which actually is now available for any project to apply to host their own INO, which will be shown to our, as you mentioned, over 30,000 daily active users. They can also put their NFTs that are already in circulation on the Bazaar.market, which offers a lot of different utilities that are specific for GameFi. So you don't have to go on OpenSea, which is definitely more for like art, and it makes it really difficult to kind of at a glance be able to look at a lot of the different NFTs and know what the difference between them are, unless you sort of click on each one and then you know what all the different traits are, and like it doesn't spell anything out for you, right? It's not for games, it's for art. And our NFT marketplace was built by us, for us, and now we're making that available to other projects. So they're participating in sort of the whole resale value of NFTs, flipping them, etc. But yeah, just kind of go back to the original point. You know, there's this idea of, well, it's not play to earn, it's play and earn, which is to me is like such a cop out. Like it's almost like if someone buys a car so that they can, you know, drive Uber. And then Uber says, you know, it's not drive to earn, it's drive and earn. You know, you can just take some people and drive them around and maybe you'll earn, but you should just have fun driving. You know, driving's fun and just have fun driving. And it's like, no, like, let's be real. Like, we're here to give people some consistent expected returns. And right now, honestly, we're one of the only games in the space that actually will pay players every single day that they come to show up. So that's why we've sort of risen to the top of the ranks and, you know, kind of are where we are, because, you know, everyone here who's listening could go and buy an NFT today and start working towards getting their ROI to the point where they can, you know, have made more than they had to spend in order to buy the NFT. And then from that point, it's just pure profit, right? And of course, if they ever want to exit, they can exit and sell their NFT and make a little more money. Like, really, it's completely up to the players, and the economy is not controlled by us. You know, it's really based on the community, and they've sort of taken it and run with it.
Yeah, and the internal NFT market is a bit of genius there, really, because you're so right. Like, if you're looking for in-game items across a marketplace like OpenSea, it just becomes a headache, right? It's just very confusing, and not confusing as much as just too much to look at, and you get distracted. So, and the filters are not intelligent for those kind of NFTs, I don't think. So, yeah, good point there, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And so you mentioned at the beginning, and I want to mention it again, it's your birthday. So Cryptoblades has been alive and kicking now for a year. And it's exactly to the day, right? It's today that you guys launched. Yeah, I thought so. So obviously, like, we've been tracking you since the early days and we know what you've been doing. But I found it particularly interesting to watch play to earn projects. And like, so you're a year into the project now, and obviously you've got some history with other projects, but I wondered if you could open up a little bit about how that year has been for you guys. Like, it's obviously you've had some wins, but what were the biggest challenges for you as a team, or for yourself individually? And then I want to get on to the kind of difficult period that you guys had in from November, but all turned out great in the end. So let's talk about that as well. But first, like, just over that past year, is there anything that really sticks in your mind as being either a massive win or a massive fail that taught you something?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, all those things kind of come together. So I'll probably just end up getting into that whole November kind of area as we talk about this. But you know, the first win was even just pitching this idea, I think last April, to you know, the initial kind of set of crypto users who kind of believed in us and were like, yeah, we're willing to help you set like an initial price for this token, and let's take a look at this game that you're building. And we sort of had the trust of these users that when we said we were going to be releasing a blockchain game, and there weren't very many out at the time, and they were like, yeah, let's give this a shot. And that was where things really took off, when I realized like my initial sort of, I call this an experiment, towards the beginning of this talk, because when we started kind of looking into this towards the end of 2020, there wasn't really very many models to sort of work off of. And we kind of came up with our own completely different model of what we think this could look like. And it really took sort of getting some people on board. And I, like, to be honest, from a business standpoint of like, hey, we've made games in the past, we would always set up what's our budget going to be to develop it, and what's our expected revenue or profit going to be. And I honestly thought, like, if we could spend a little bit of time on the side working on this little blockchain thing and writing some smart contracts and yada yada, that maybe we'll make like $10,000. That was the like legit goal of Cryptoblades.
So that was what you were thinking in your mind. You were like, okay, we'll do what we used to do, but let's take this slowly, right? That's what it sounds like. You'd be happy with a little blockchain implementation. All right, interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I said, there wasn't anything to really base it off of. Even Axie was like very, very small at the time. They had their own kind of issues and different things that they were going after that we wanted to avoid. And so we thought, let's just release basic combat and what was it? Forging NFTs and basic combat. Those were like the two features that we launched with. And that was on June 1st of last year. And that experiment ended up really blowing up. There can be too much of a good thing. We actually ended up jumping to over 500,000 daily active users within, I think, 30 days of launching the game. And it was way too much too fast for the token economy that we built. It was way too much for the NFT economy that, like, we didn't even have an NFT marketplace. It was on like Q4 roadmap or something like that. It was like nowhere near, and we literally built an NFT marketplace in 8 days, completely from scratch, just in order to fulfill the need for people to safely create an escrow for these NFT trades, because people were, like, getting scammed and this and that. And it's like, oh, geez, like, we saw the need and we kind of just moved on it. Like, all these things were just a complete whirlwind. And it was way beyond what we were initially expecting. And we just were trying our best to sort of keep up with it, because like I said, it was way too fast. Like, yes, everybody hopes and dreams I'm going to have 500,000 daily active users, but until you've experienced it, and if you're not ready for it, it's just simply not going to work out. And that's exactly what happened. Like, we were working on adjusting the economy and adjusting the different NFT functionality, and even adjusting sort of the internal economy of the game as far as giving people different things to spend their tokens on, because it was never really meant to have that many people that fast. We kind of figured we would be implementing things as we go, and it would more be about the roadmap, and maybe we'll gain traction in 6 months or something like that. But it just was never really meant to do that. And so by the time like November rolled around, the reward system was completely screwed up. The payout system for combat mode was completely screwed up. There was nowhere near enough of our actual features developed, because we were spending all of our time running around with our hair on fire, to be quite honest. And, we just sat down and thought, well, we always wanted to build a play to earn game based on revenue. And we also always wanted to build more of a GameFi platform than just a single game. And I shouldn't say always. Like I said, the first version was definitely supposed to just be a single play to earn game. But the thought was NFTs are completely interoperable by definition. So why not allow any kind of NFTs to be used within Cryptoblades? Why not allow any kinds of tokens to be earned within Cryptoblades? Much like a decentralized exchange, incentivizes liquidity by creating farming pools, we can incentivize people to play or interact with different tokens and projects and NFTs through creating gamified airdrops, which is what kind of the first phase of our overall recovery looked like. So there was this long period of probably 2 to 3 months where we were essentially just completely rebuilding, right? We were already completely devoted to just Cryptoblades. In fact, all of our game studio development resources went directly to Cryptoblades and still are. We've since put everything and even grown our team to over 45 full-time people working on not only Cryptoblades, but all of these various other products that we now offer, many of which were built because we needed them. And now we're making them available to the blockchain community as a whole, such as the NFT bridge, such as the secondary marketplace, the launchpad. And it is really finally becoming this space where now all of these other sort of, up and coming projects can take advantage of the work that we've spent the past year building, and we can make that available to them, all the while helping build support for our skill token, which is the primary ecosystem token of Cryptoblades. So yeah, there's certainly, and I'm obviously happy to delve into any and all details around sort of that fall and then that rebuilding phase. But yeah, overall, it has been a whirlwind, and I'm happy that we're kind of back in the place that we are now.
No, it's very cool. And yeah, I don't want to dwell on the fall. And I think the only reason I actually mention it is because usually from these events, and it sounds like the same for you guys, somebody asked us this question the other day about DappRadar, and the answer was basically like all of our biggest hurdles have resulted in our biggest wins. Because it's like in this industry, people are just going to constantly throw down traps in front of you, right? And you've got to try to get over them. So that's why I wanted to zone in on that a little bit, because I think you guys did an amazing, I think it's a good testament to your community as well, that off the back of, because this industry, as you know, is quite hypey. 1 minute something's going crazy, the next minute it's entirely forgotten about. So I think it's very cool what you guys did, and I think it's very cool that of your community to support you through that phase. It's not that, they didn't have to do that. So I think it's very cool. And but yeah, let's just jump into a few of the things, because you did some pretty cool stuff to kind of kickstart activity again. And there was some main ones, like you did a couple of Black Friday deals, which was like sales on NFTs, right? So you first kicked things up by doing some basically just some discounting on NFTs, right? To get some new players. And then what was that? You did a 3x, there was a 3x multiplier I saw as well on Twitter. What was that all about? So people could basically earn more during that time, or?
Yeah. So for those of you who are kind of on the fence and you're thinking, well, I'm not really into blockchain gaming, or maybe I'm playing this game right now. Like, honestly, today would be a wonderful day to get started with Cryptoblades, because for the rest of the day, we actually have a ton of different kind of incentives it's really for our existing community. It's kind of like we're having a week-long birthday party, but today there's 3 times experience, and experience is sort of the primary kind of gatekeeping for NFTs to level up. And when the NFTs level up, they earn more funds through the rewards in the actual game. And so if you join now, you'll get from like level 1 to probably like level 21 in a matter of days. And that's going to every 10 levels is kind of a break point where you can get a significant increase in your earnings. And so the 3 times experience is sort of our final. We've had a lot of different bonuses. There's all these different kind of features. There's forging, there's reforging, there's special weapons, there's all kinds of different stuff. But the primary one that we do fairly rarely is this extra experience, which really just allows people to level up faster and earn more faster, which essentially gives you a better ROI. It's the thing that's sort of most associated with the ROI in the game. So yeah, that's kind of the main idea there. And of course, yeah, like we're trying to use like a lot of the traditional marketing methods to be generating revenue through things like doing Black Friday or having sales from time to time, or all kinds of stuff. Like we're very much kind of working as a traditional business in the NFT space, which I think is not very common. A lot of times it's like, well, how can I just drive hype, or how can it's like you said, it's very hype based, and that's not the best thing for creating like a sustainable business. And we're kind of working more from that whole long-term vision of how do we just develop like long-term brand loyalty. And even if you look at the stats on DappRadar, which we use and we quote very often because it's one of the most clear views of the analytics of our game. But if you look at the past, 6 months, it's like we went from like our low of maybe 4,000 daily active users, and then every month it's like adding 5,000 more daily active users, and 5,000 more daily active users, and a lot of that exactly is just through these sort of this grind of continuing to find creative ways to either engage new players or improve the retention of existing players.
I think the super important word there for me, Philip, is retention, right? I think in a hypey industry, it's not actually that difficult to onboard. It's the retention part which is difficult. And I find it also interesting about what you're saying here about using kind of, what do we call them, classical marketing techniques like a Black Friday sale. I think it's a good idea. And as you said, not everybody is doing this because everybody tries to reinvent the wheel all the time. And I think it's a good thing to do because people know what a Black Friday sale is, right? They don't need to have any knowledge or any blockchain experience to know, right, it's a sale and it's happening on Friday and I can get involved. I agree with you, definitely. I think familiarity is important in this space for now while people are learning new things, right? And that retention is important. And I think you guys are doing a great job there as well. And
yeah, thanks.
there was another thing as well. So you kind of morphed. Actually, I want to go back just one step because we were talking about the early success, and you said that you launched with NFTs and gameplay, and I'm sitting here thinking, good, like that's exactly what you should have done because there's so many projects out there that launch with basically nothing, and then it's like you're just waiting. So having gameplay, and that's the thing that got me with Cryptoblades, it's a fighting game, right? Like it's not a grindy button bashing thing. You're actually like engaged in more of a classic game mechanic. Or am I wrong? Like, have I seen the wrong videos? That's right, isn't it?
So there's a couple different aspects to it. So Cryptoblades itself, like the kind of classic almost click to earn type game is still very much like very DeFi centric because every single interaction is a layer 1 interaction. It's not like, hey, we're going to do all these different simulations and we're going to have the centralized server and we're going to be tracking player stats and then people are going to be doing things a lot, and then eventually we're going to, allow them to sort of access, the crypto coffers, so to speak. It's very much still just based on, and there is a lot of strategy to it too, actually. I think we were counting up some of the different ways to earn, and we've kind of talked about like really essentially 8 different distinct quote unquote jobs that people can have within Cryptoblades if you want to be earning on a consistent basis. But then additionally, Riveted Games, the overall studio, we've been working on building out various types of other sort of gamified ways to interact with the blockchain that in some cases are very much just sort of fun interactive games. Like we have one that's called Magic Connect, which is sort of a free-to-play strategy game that's coming out later this year. We have another one called Boom Brigade, which is like a tactical turn-based strategy game where you're commanding an army, and that army, it's very much again a strategy game. And then we also have Cryptoblades Kingdoms, which is a sort of idle kingdom management game where you're managing like these vast amounts of resources and tons of different units and humongous maps, and it's like a very much like a long-term build out strategy game, and almost maybe in the 4X genre, but definitely in like the PBBG genre, and so there's certainly a lot of different ways that we're incorporating both NFTs and blockchain in order to make sort of meaningful advances in the play to earn and in the blockchain gaming space. So while all the while each of these products is kind of developing on its own track and sort of interconnecting in different ways. For example, Magic Connect, which is not at all even in the whole theme or genre or franchise of Cryptoblades, still benefits from Cryptoblades because it's going to be launching on Ascension Pad, which is our launch pad. It's going to be inducted into the Knighthood Program, where you can actually earn the M-Shard tokens by doing certain gamified tasks within Cryptoblades. There's going to be different NFTs that you can earn through quests within Cryptoblades. Like, so we're kind of really trying to use some of these products to show people, hey, what does it mean? Like, what does it mean to build a GameFi platform? Because that doesn't really exist. There's kind of GameFi aggregators and there's all different kinds of things, but there's nothing that provides like tooling for GameFi projects, which is really what we're trying to sort of branch Cryptoblades into, which is more like, hey, all these amazing things that have helped Cryptoblades become one of the most popular blockchain games in the world, let's allow other people to sort of interact with those. And it's simple because we just built it on the NFT standard. And because of that, anyone else who uses the NFT standard can very much just apply, and right away they can access, you know, all those same features that were built for that NFT standard.
Got it. I mean, it's you guys were trailblazing at that time, as you've said. There was not a blueprint to follow as such. Like you say, Axie had its own issues to deal with. They even ended up launching their own blockchain to cope with that in the end. So yeah, it was an interesting time to start launching as well. And then you took your token skill and launched it on Avalanche, right? But the game is not active on Avalanche. What was the thinking behind that? I was like, that's a good move because there's a lot of GameFi users over on Avalanche, and it seemed to be a smart move from that perspective. Was that the motivation, or was there something else there?
So we started working on Avalanche was kind of on the short list of blockchains that we wanted to integrate with. And at the time, Avalanche wasn't what it is today. It was very much kind of like an up and coming, additional sort of layer one. And the gas fees were not nearly what they are now. Like when we were thinking, when we were originally looking at Avalanche, it was in like, June of last year. And then by the time we launched on Avalanche, gas fees were crazy.
Yep.
And of course, they do have the subnets, and we didn't necessarily have to deploy to I think they call it like the CNET, but we ended up launching on there anyways, and really the intent was let's go to where the users are, and our user base had been sort of we had been polling them for a long time on which smart chains to deploy to, and I think it just wasn't necessarily the timing wasn't necessarily right on that one, but nonetheless, we still we have applied with the Avalanche Foundation with Ava Labs to explore a subnet within their ecosystem, which would alleviate a lot of those gas issues. But it's just part of that overall strategy of like, let's go to where the players are. In that particular case, we didn't gain a lot of players from Avalanche in particular. But because we're a very much like layer one centric game, the high transaction costs are not very conducive to being able to earn as much in an environment like that. But then lower cost chains like Polygon or OEC, those have been very successful in actually gaining a lot of different users and things like that. So yeah, Avalanche, because we're on currently BNB chain, Polygon, Avalanche, Aurora EVM, OEC, and Hiko, and soon to be launching on Kava and Scale.
Wow.
But yeah, so we've certainly been kind of trying to go to where the users are, and in some cases that works out wonderfully. And then in other cases, even with Polygon, like no one would have expected or been able to foresee like how challenging the time for transactions to go through would be, or how challenging the cost of transactions that kind of swing up and swing back down. That's again, like we're just trying to work kind of in these environments. And the nice thing about being multi-chain is that if it's not working out for users, they're going to move out of there. And that's why we created the NFT bridge, where they can do that extremely cheaply and extremely securely. With over 150,000 NFTs bridged, we have a 0% loss rate. So, people feel fairly confident that they can move their NFTs wherever they need to in case issues like that arise, which sometimes can't really be foreseen.
And where do you sort of, because you're running, BNB chain, Polygon, multiple chains, where would you say the bulk of the activity is then, Philip? Where are people preferring to interact with Cryptoblades? Is it on BNB? Which is the...
It's actually on OEC. So, so BNB has the majority of the liquidity, and people just to simply use the skill token bridge in order to move their earnings, to where the liquidity is. But then they do the actual gameplay where the transactions are the most consistent and the cheapest. So it's kind of like they're able to sort of do different things in different places where they can be playing here, but then they can be selling on this chain. And we're sort of working out a lot of different ways to be able to facilitate that. But then again, we also have a large amount of users on Hiko chain. But even though it's cheap, players are leaving because there's just very little, if any, activity on that chain.
Got it.
It was a very different story when Huobi was allowed to have their Chinese user base use Huobi Global, and then that kind of tanked, and Hiko kind of tanked with it, and so some of these other, it was just an opportunity for some of these other chains to sort of step up, and we're very much looking forward to the Kava and Scale ecosystems, simply because Kava is almost completely developer owned, where the vast majority of the transaction fees actually go to the protocols themselves. And then with Scale, it's a gasless sort of elastic chain solution where they're using the Starknet ZK rollups in order to have ETH do the validation, all the while the users can be doing it in a gasless state, and we can kind of have our own what we call hub, which is essentially our own smart chain within the Scale ecosystem. And it's almost like the Polkadot ecosystem too, actually, because all of these different Scale chains can kind of interact with each other. And so when people utilize, or when people want to utilize, decentralized exchanges or NFT marketplaces within Scale, they can actually be moving into the ecosystem through our hub, which generates activity for us. They can be using our different tools and services and things like that. And so, that's kind of another area where we're trying to sort of look at where the industry and the users are moving, and sort of get there ahead of time and become kind of a first mover in that space. So that's kind of the strategy there with making sure that our entire ecosystem is sort of portable in that sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense, man. Definitely. It's good answer. I think one thing just to clarify for listeners who perhaps are not familiar with blockchain games is we're talking about transaction costs. And sometimes people say, how come these, Ethereum is like the big daddy chain, right? And sometimes people ask, well, how come you haven't launched on Ethereum? Now, with blockchain games, the players are completing a lot of transactions. So let's say maybe 30 or 40 in an hour. If you did that on Ethereum, it's going to cost you like $30-40 per transaction. So obviously you're not
right.
Yeah, you're not going to do that. So I always like to just get that clear. That's why we're discussing layer 1, layer 2, side chains, different alternatives, because if the transaction costs were that high, a game like Cryptoblades just couldn't run. So hence why we discuss those things. Philip, you mentioned the Knighthood program, and you did mention some numbers early doors. Can you just explain exactly what that is? It's a launch pad, right, for other projects. And just tell us a little bit about that, the Knighthood program.
Sure. So yeah, the Knighthood program is kind of like maybe more of like a springboard, because it's not a launch pad in the sense of you buy tokens, you stake them with a launch pad, and then the launch pad will allow you to purchase public sale tokens that are not even in circulation yet.
Okay.
Versus the Knighthood program is basically a way for us to incentivize traction. So we have, as we've shown, kind of one of the most active blockchain games in the world. We have, the over 30,000 daily active users, and other games are kind of vying for the eyeballs of these play to earn gamers.
Yeah.
And we kind of have a lot of them centralized in our ecosystem. And so essentially what we do is we'll create a multi-farm, which is in a way gamified airdrops of the native token of these projects.
Okay.
And they provide that airdrop, which will be distributed out to our users over 2 to 4 weeks. It doesn't involve any sort of massive sell pressure, because the tokens are distributed sort of at a certain emission rate, so as to not result in a large dump or anything like that.
Nice.
And then what they receive for creating that farm is a whole slew of different marketing and educational activities that we provide to our entire user base, both within the application and outside the application. So these projects get access to everything from our Discord, which has over 100,000 users, or our Twitter account, which has over 150,000 followers, or Facebook, or Reddit, or Medium. And we kind of, and again, it's kind of in this whole strategy to be more of a GameFi platform than just a single play to earn game, because they can come and participate in all of these different activities with us, and we can be educating our users who are here kind of coming to the platform every day, and they're going to be seeing, oh, cool, like great, like what's Bit Hotel up to, or what's this project or that project. And so that's kind of the main premise there is we curate and meet with all these projects. They also go through like a 16-point security scorecard so that we can make sure that these are projects where if we're going to be working with them in any way and kind of giving them access to our community, we want to make sure that they're really high quality projects and that they're kind of safe from a lot of the major pitfalls of games. And then of course they get advisement from us and lots of other sort of intangibles that kind of make it more meaningful for them. And so that's why I kind of call it more of like a springboard than a launch pad, because the launch pad product is Ascension Pad, what we just sort of launched today, where we are going to be allowing for the first time ever play to earn gamers to use their gaming rewards to qualify them for purchasing these public sale tokens, as well as people who just want to buy skill token, stake it, buy public sale tokens, in order to, again, it's all a matter of ROI. That's what everybody's kind of in this for, is like, if I buy this much amount of skill tokens, how many public sales do I have to participate in and, get a 5x, 10x, or, in the rare cases, 100x on launch day of one of these tokens. And we're kind of trying to say, hey, look, we know what it takes to like launch a good project, and now we're going to be doing that for some of these other projects.
Nice, man. It's very cool, and I want to talk about Ascension Pad in a moment because I know it's important and I know that it's launched today. But just listening to that answer there, Philip, it's like is crypto. The bigger picture here is you're acting a bit like a game publisher, right? Like in that, and that's where you've come from historically. And we spoke about blueprints as well, and it's almost like Cryptoblades is making the blueprint and now offering this out as kind of like an open source way for other games to benefit. Do you think, I mean, am I right? Or is that just like my wild thoughts going wild there? Or like, do you think in the end that will be your path, that you would be more of a publisher of games and a supporter rather than, only known for Cryptoblades, as it were?
Yeah, that certainly.
Yeah.
That's definitely where we're heading. And that doesn't mean that Cryptoblades will ever go away. Like Cryptoblades kind of exists as this sort of bread and butter of the whole thing. It's kind of in the same sense of like, you have Steam, which is made by Valve, and one of the most popular games on Steam is Counter-Strike or Half-Life, right? Like those are games that they made, but additionally, they release Steam, which is like, hey, when people are interacting with games kind of on a meta level, what are some of these cool things that the platform can offer? And what they've kind of shown for themselves is, hey, if we create a storefront that allows people to sort of learn a lot more about games by having review systems, by having achievements within it, by having different discoverability, by having different social interactions, that's all of sort of what the next roadmap looks like for us. And in kind of some of those interactions that we see as being very different from Web 2.0, but that being necessary in Web 3.0 is especially in the sense of, hey, where are people going to go when they want to start trading their NFTs? Or, hey, how can we incentivize people to discover new NFTs that are for brand new games? Or how can we, start to take a game that exists that maybe is very high quality, but maybe should be gaining more traction? What can we be doing to help like pump them up?
Give them a look,
And exactly, and that's kind of what the beauty of Cryptoblades as both a game and a platform is because it's all completely layer one and completely like NFT and token centric. We can take some of the things that make Cryptoblades fun and incorporate those into literally any game that uses ERC20 tokens or ERC721 NFTs.
Nice. All right, let's get on to the announcement for today. But first of all, actually, did you do the live stream today on Twitch? Was that you, Philip, that did that? You had a big event today.
Yeah,
that was you. How did it go, man? How was it? Tell people what you
Yeah,
did
it was
today,
awesome.
and tell people what you did and how it went today, because it looked really cool. So yeah, fill us in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we went over everything with Ascension Pad, which is the primary product that we launched today to sort of celebrate this 1 year anniversary. I've already talked a lot about it, so I won't get too much into it, obviously. But we went over all the details of Ascension Pad. We also went over some of the products that we're going to be launching on Ascension Pad to start. One of which we're really excited about is called Bolster. It's actually a SocialFi product. We've been spending a lot of time both with our development and business, sort of from that publishing aspect of sort of having our hands directly in the development of this product and kind of coming up with a strategy of like, all right, SocialFi has sort of been attempted, but it hasn't really succeeded in barely any cases that I can see.
Yep.
And why not? Well, it's kind of lacking a lot of that sort of bridge between traditional social media and social influencers and the Web 3.0 community, right? You have to sort of be able to say, well, why is it useful for people who are already using social media in the Web 2.0 space? And what we kind of have seen is, for one, we need brand ambassadors who are very popular and loved in their own spaces, and we need to be able to offer something that people can't otherwise get from the existing mediums that are out there, like Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And so we essentially created a platform very much like Patreon, where people can subscribe to get more direct access and more close access to their favorite influencers, even have a say in the content that's created. And it's something that's been extremely popular in that space, with I think over the past 5 years has grown to a $20 billion industry. And so Bolster is attempting to essentially open up the floodgates of crypto payments into that industry, which currently there's absolutely no support for crypto payments. And additionally, be able to offer things like NFTs that can give you access to them, and they can be in short demand. And essentially, what we kind of are hoping is to create NFTs that are sort of an index for the popularity of an influencer. So that if you buy a lifetime subscription to an influencer and their monthly subscription cost is, let's say, $15, and you pay $100 just to mint it. Well, obviously that influencer's lifetime subscription pass is going to go up in value. Additionally, if that influencer gives all different kinds of different perks, like maybe it's merchandise or maybe it's more exclusive access to them or something like that, then again, now you've just sort of increased that index of that NFT. And so we're trying to sort of take that more speculative nature, sort of the things that are fun about speculating on NFTs, and introduce them into an actual real utility, which is, lifetime subscription to that influencer on the Bolster platform. But then the coolest thing about it is we kind of set this very lofty goal back in February of getting 20 million followers in brand reach prior to the token launching, which seems like an insane number. And I don't know where we came up with it, but it was just crazy.
Somebody just chucked it out there and you ran with it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we also just announced that I think we hit over 28 million followers among our brand ambassadors.
Nice.
Who are all going to be pushing out information about Bolster, which is launching on Ascension Pad. And they're very deeply integrated even into the development of the product and everything too. Like, these are people who absolutely, many of them have 2 to 5 to 8 million plus followers on their social media platforms, and they're giving us kind of their blueprints of how they've been able to grow their communities to that large, and we're applying that to Bolster. And we're really hoping that when we launch this token, that sort of amount of energy, of potential energy, is sort of just stored up. And when we launch the token, we can have a very successful launch for our Ascension Pad users, who are going to obviously be the ones who can qualify to buy those tokens at the lowest price. So that's kind of the idea, again, is like, hey, how can we take some areas in the Web 3.0 space and kind of do it again? Like, how can we create more innovations and do things and gain traction and things like that? So we talked a lot about that. And then finally, we did, all kind of culminated after going over that and going over Magic Connect, another project that we're going to be launching actually on Solana. And we ended it with just a big buyback, where We took some of our funds that we've been kind of storing up from some of the ad revenue actually that we gained from some of the ads that we put on Cryptoblades, and use that to buy back the skill token, which just means more rewards for everybody, and everyone can sort of celebrate in that way. So yeah, that's kind of obviously it's going to be posted to YouTube as well. So if anyone wants to check out the stream in its entirety, you can head over to our Cryptoblades YouTube channel. But that's a little bit more about what we went over today.
That's really cool, man. And I think the level of interaction you're getting there as well is amazing. Like, it's really cool. We're wrapping up towards the end, Philip. I want to thank you mainly because your answers have been great, and I know how super busy you are. But before we wrap it all up, for people who perhaps have now listened, understood, got a nice idea, and think, you know what, this is kind of cool, I might want to go and take a look. How can people get started on Cryptoblades? What's the cost of entry? What do you get for that? Do my characters come ready to fight? Tell me a little bit, man. Like, how can I jump in?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have very low entry points, as low as $2, which yes, you can join on, especially one of our low cost chains like OEC, for example, and purchase a character and start battling today and start earning experience, which is going to make you earn more and more every day, as well as learning how to participate in some of the more advanced features of Cryptoblades, which can help you earn even more, like quests and PvP and raids and things like that. Additionally, you can buy a set of kind of more experienced characters off of the marketplace. For example, we have characters, even up to like level 71, I think, on our marketplace that people are selling, where you can make a slightly larger investment. Let's call it like $50 for a single character, and be making anywhere from 10 to $20 per month on that character alone, all the while still having the NFT in your possession. Meaning, if you play for a month and you make $10 and then you want to just sell your character, for what you paid for it, or hopefully a little bit more since it leveled up, you can do so. And then now, you start with $50 and you end with $60. But of course, some players have tons of different accounts and tons of different characters and things like that. Like, really, the sky is the limit as far as, whatever your sort of ticket size is when it comes to participating in either investments or in NFTs. There's really a lot for you to sort of get started, but I would highly recommend, if you want to get started, join the Discord, which is at discord.gg/cryptoblades. And that's probably the easiest way to learn about how to earn the most within the Cryptoblades ecosystem.
Yeah, because you guys have got a lot of content on that, right? Like, you've covered it, you're helpful in that regard as well. And I think it's also important to point out the fact that we're not talking, like you're saying, $50 up to $60. It's $10. It's good. We're not talking about millions of dollars here, guys. Like, it's another thing that people say to me sometimes. They're like, oh, I'd have to sit there and play my whole life just to make, and I'm thinking, well, that's not really what it's about. Like, it's, as you said rightly at the beginning, you're supposed to be having fun at the same time. It's not about grinding, right? So yeah, I think it's quite important to mention.
Yeah, like one character takes like all of 15 seconds to play per day. Like, really, you just log in, you do some combats, or you join a raid, and you participate in the, a lot of people call it Discord Blades, because the vast majority of the fun that people have is sort of just interacting with the community and like keeping up with like the most efficient ways to be making use of your NFTs, which is, sort of the meta is sort of constantly changing. And so, we want you guys to sort of interact with us. I'm always in the lounge there chatting with players, and we all very, very helpful community who are helping people to sort of learn more about the game.
That's really cool. It's like the opposite of playing games like Counter-Strike, where the other community members are basically just there to teabag you, like, or to just make you feel crap basically when you lose. And, like,
exactly.
This is the opposite in like a nice collaborative fashion, because in essence, no one's losing anything by helping another person. And it's the same in normal games. Like, if a guy helps another guy with a hiding spot, I suppose he is actually giving up his vantage there. So it's interesting to me how it's kind of playing out in that regard. But right, we've come to the end. I want to thank you very much for your time, man. Thank you so much. I know you're a busy guy, and I know this week has been super busy. So nice one, man. I really appreciate the time you've given us today. I hope everybody's learned something and took on board some new information about play to earn and Cryptoblades. Philip, would you like to give a shout out, just end it there and just say thank you to everybody?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thanks so much for joining, everybody. And I hope to see some of you in the Discord. Feel free to say hi, and I'll come by and chat with you. And if there's anything else that I've said that doesn't make any sense, like, I'm sure somebody can clarify it or whatever. But yeah, we hope to see you on our in our community.
Yeah, that's really important. And if you want to listen back again, just to go over it again, and then maybe figure out some questions, this whole thing will be on YouTube by tomorrow. So you can go over there on the DappRadar YouTube, and you can find it there as well. So that's it for today. I just want to thank my guest again. Thank you, and all the listeners for tuning in. I hope you've all learned something about this play to earn game, and it seems to have a big future, so it's worth looking at. I'll be here next week with Alien Worlds, actually, another play to earn game. And the calendar of AMAs in June is pretty ram-packed, so make sure you stay updated, follow our social channels, and find out about all of those events coming up in June. All right, guys, thanks for your time today. Take care, and I'll see y'all next week. Thanks again, Philip.